Over the course of time and throughout the duration of human history, knowledge has been continually gained, and people have learned to be able to utilize things that they had not previously known how to utilize. And there's a term that we generally utilize for that, and that term is technology. Technology. And what is technology? Technology is the application of conceptual knowledge to achieve practical goals, especially in a reproductive way. That's one definition of technology. And we're going to get into technology today in the context of utilizing or using spiritual technology to address back pain, spiritual technology to address back pain. Peace and love, everybody, and welcome back to another Sunday Hope and Healing session. I'm Royce Fletcher Thomason, and as always, it's a pleasure to be with you today as I share some things I hope will be insightful for you. Whether you have back pain or not, whether you even know anybody with back pain or not, I believe this may be a broadcast that will be informative for you and that can actually help to expand your understanding. Some might see this as maybe a little bit woo-woo. Some might not understand the depth of what it is that we're going to be sharing with you today. But there is a lot of value in what it is that we're sharing today. So really, technology is, whenever you see the word logi, which comes from logia, is really referring to the study of. And so biology or biology is the study of life, right? Endocrinology is the study of the endocrine system, right? Okay. Physiology is the study of how things work inside of the body. Okay. And all of these things really relate to the study of this or that particular thing. And technology, techno or tech comes from the Greek techne, which really, and I gave a definition earlier. Another that I'd like to kind of give some understanding in terms of the etymology of the techno part of technology is that it comes from the Greek techne, which refers to the art or the craft or art or craft or skill. Okay. Skill. The study of an art, the study of a craft, a way of doing things, the study of a certain skill. And we're talking about spiritual technology. When we think about technology, I've got this ring on right now. This ring measures when I'm awake, when I'm asleep, when I'm in a light sleep, when I'm in REM sleep, when I'm in deep sleep. It measures when I wake up, how much time I spend in each of these things. It looks at the efficiency of the oxygen that I'm taking in. It measures my steps. It measures my the number of breaths I take in a minute. It measures my heartbeat. It measures all of these things just in a ring that I put on my finger, and a ton of other stuff, right? This is just a development of technology. You're watching right now, you're watching this broadcast, whether you're looking at it on YouTube or whether you're looking at it on Facebook or wherever else you might be watching it from, you're able to watch this because of the technology that's made available. Somebody actually designed this thing called the internet to make this available for me to sit in my home in Florida and for you to be able to, wherever in the world you are, and I know that there are people who are watching from different parts of the world, you're able to actually behold this because of the technology that's available. And technology typically refers to advances that take place. They're things that are developed through the utilization of science in a lot of cases. But let me tell you that really all human technology, all technology that people design, is really just mimicking a part of a divine design or a spiritual technology, if you will. Okay. And so you're watching this because of the use of the internet. You might be watching it on your phone, you might be watching on a computer. Your phone isn't plugged into anything, and it's just able to snatch out of the ethers my image and the sound of my voice right now, right? That's wonderful how that's able to happen. And you're able to send text messages to people on the other side of the planet, on Facebook, from the other side of the planet, and they get it like this. That's wonderful technology that happens. You know, we can pull up all of this information, and through the use of this information, we're able to actually be able to implement things that wouldn't otherwise be able to be done. Okay. And so we're thankful for the use of human technology, but again, it's mirroring another technology, the internet, the World Wide Web that connects us and that we're all able to see one another through and behold one another through. Well, it's pointing to a deeper thing, a deeper reality of how we're all intimately and intricately, divinely interconnected. Okay. And so people may be tuned in from different parts of the world on an electronic device. But even beyond that, we're all connected. We're all divinely connected. We're all divinely connected. The 100th monkey study kind of speaks to that, right? I'm not going to get into that too much, but what I do want to speak to is that there is technology that is hidden within us that we can actually learn to actually utilize, put into practice, put to work for some practical gain, for some practical benefit. Okay. That's what I'm wanting to kind of convey to you. And so we're going to do that today in the context of addressing back pain. Now, back pain is something that people physically feel in their bodies, and other different pains and other different health issues and challenges and conditions that one might be faced with. But here's the thing. No matter what is going on in your body, no matter what is going on in your physical body, no matter what that is, there's something deeper going on within the realm of consciousness. There's something deeper going on that you may not necessarily be aware of. Okay. All right. Endless peace and blessings to you too, Alita. All right. And so here's the thing. Whatever you're experiencing in your body temple has its root in something non-physical. Whatever you're experiencing in your physical body has a root in something that is non-physical. Let's speak to this situation about back pain. And if there's anybody in here who's dealing with back pain, let us know. And not only if you have back pain, but what your level of back pain is that you're experiencing it on a scale of 0 to 10, with 0 being no pain and 10 being the most excruciating pain that you've ever felt. Where would you rate, if you have some back pain, where would you rate that back pain on a 0 to 10 scale? We're going to address it. If anybody has back pain today, we're going to address that. If you are even catching this on a playback, we're going to incorporate the use of this technology, and this particular technology referred to as Transcending the Matrix, which is a holistic approach to healing that addresses each and every aspect of a person's beingness. Okay. We have physical bodies, but we are not limited to our physical bodies. You know, we exist physically, yes. We exist mentally and emotionally. We exist psychically and spiritually. I was, by the way, I was speaking of these different logies earlier. You know, how anything that ends logy, it's referring to the study of psychology. We usually think of the study of the mind, but psychology comes from the Greek term psyche. The Greek term psyche, it actually means soul. So at its real true core, psychology is the study of the soul, is the study of the soul. And so what we're endeavoring to do through these hope and healing sessions, through the content that we're putting out there, what we're endeavoring to do is to be able to actually help you to be able to understand, to be able to comprehend, to be able to grasp the things that are going on within you, within your consciousness, within your mind, within the realm of your soul, that that are hindering you from the fullness of who it is that you were divinely designed to be. You are made in pure love. You are made from a place of infinite wisdom. Your body was designed to be able to heal itself. There is technology hidden within you that you may not have necessarily tapped into. You know, like when was it Michelangelo that did, I forget, I'm mixing up Michelangelo and Da Vinci, whichever one is the one who did the David, you know, carved the David out of marble, that marble sculpture of the David. He said that the David was always there. It was always there, hidden in the marble. He just chopped away everything that wasn't the David to reveal the presence of the David there. And that's what our journey is about, really, on earth, as spiritual beings living a human existence within the physical realm of the planet Earth, really is to uncover the truth of who it is that we really are, to get rid of all of the things that hide our true essence. And so when we take on different life challenges, like health situations, health challenges, when we take on financial or relationship issues, when we take on these different things in our lives that might manifest in poor states of mental health, or that affect our well-being in various and sundry ways. All of those things are really pointing to what it is that's going on within the atmosphere of our own internal environment. And we're seeing that outpictured externally. We're seeing that outpictured externally as a reflection or as a projection of what it is that's going on inside. Okay. And so as we clear away those cobwebs, as we correct those errors, if you will, and all of those things fall off, then what ends up being revealed is the true beauty and purity and magnificence of who it is that you really are at your core. And the way that we even see other people, the way that we see the world in which we live, is also a function of what's going on inside of us as well. And when we can get to a point where we have so purified our mind, where we've so purified our hearts, where we so have so fully allowed ourselves to be transformed and transmuted from the inside, then the way that we see things begin to change. We are pure love and divine light. That's all we ever were. We might be experiencing something very differently than that, but the way that we truly experientially know that we are pure love and divine light is when that becomes all that we see. Okay. And that becomes all that we see. Some people might refer to me as a healer, and sometimes work with people who are experiencing health challenges of various sorts. And, I say sometimes I don't work with sick people. I work with well people, just revealing that truth to them, right? Sometimes I'm the person that I'm working on revealing that truth to. Okay. And so as we're talking about utilizing spiritual technology to address back pain, as we're talking about utilizing spiritual technology to address back pain, what I kind of want to address within us is that as it relates to back pain specifically, and this is something that I've worked with a lot of people on over the years. When I first started 20 something years ago, I was working with a lot of people with back pain. Not just locally where I was in Detroit at the time, but with people all over the United States and all over the globe that had issues with back pain. That was something that I dealt with a whole lot. In fact, a story, and you may have heard me share this on Sunday Hope and Healing sessions in the past. It was an early story. Shortly after I had the wonderful experience of studying Chinese energetic medicine under Dr. Cam Yuen, the 35th generation Shaolin master, who took those ancient teachings and merged them with the latest things in terms of physiology, biochemistry, anatomy, psychology, and quantum physics to create something that worked much more quickly. And I was blessed to be able to study with this, who to this day is the wisest, most brilliant human being I've ever met in my life. Okay. And shortly after this training, I'm going to pick up a prescription for a friend. And while I'm driving there, I'm doing self-work, affirming that God has made me a master healer. And I get there and the pharmacist is writhing in back pain. She had just actually left a chiropractor who, what our chiropractor is probably best known for is addressing back pain. She just left the chiropractor, was surrounded by all these pain medications, and yet she was in an extreme amount of pain. I offered to provide some assistance. She accepted very quickly. Her back pain was gone. And both she and I, quite frankly, were quite surprised in that moment. It happened very quickly. And took care of my pharmacy stuff, got ready to leave. They called me back to the pharmacy they paged me over the intercom system and asked me to come back as I was walking out the door. And then they had a few questions and things to ask. But this issue of back pain is something that I've been blessed to have a lot of experience with and help a lot of people with. It's something that a lot of people deal with. It's a challenge that a lot of people face. And so I've seen over the years that there are different things that may on the surface level be going on with a person's back. A person may have sustained some type of injury. A person may have degenerated disc space that's causing bone to rub on bone. Okay, a person may have pulled a muscle. A person may have sustained some type of injury or something to the sciatic nerve, which goes from the back and then runs down the hip, down the leg, and to the foot. And sometimes people have dealt with that, maybe some type of injury to that sciatic nerve, or maybe inflammation in the sciatic nerve, or there may be something going on somewhere else in their back that's actually putting a lot of pressure on that sciatic nerve. A person may have an issue going on with their lungs and they're feeling it in their back. They may have something going on with one or both of their kidneys, and then that pain is registering in their back. There are a lot of things on a physical level that could point to a person having physical. I've dealt with people who had actually been shot A couple of people who still actually had a bullet in them at the time that I was working with them because it was too dangerous to remove it based on how and where it was lodged, and was fortunate to be able to work with people in that situation and help them experience some alleviation and relief. But even though there are all these different things going on a physical level, there also in each one of these situations was something going on a non-physical level, and whatever is happening physically is happening in the realm of symptoms. It's not actually happening in the realm of true root cause. And what we endeavored to do through the use of this, what I'm referring to as spiritual technology, is get to the real root cause of the issue, because the root cause is something non-physical. And so this spiritual technology that we're referring to is dealing with the skilled application, the study and practical application of a skilled use of that which exists in the non-physical realm. Okay, are you with me right now? Okay, and so if anybody is experiencing any back pain, we're going to go ahead and engage in some healing to actually assist with that. If you know anybody who's dealing with back pain, please send this to them, and they'll be able to actually experience some improvement as a result of that. Okay. All right. So I'm going to start with a prayer, and then we'll get into the healing. I always start and end with a prayer because I know that regardless of what skill I have, if God doesn't show up, no healing happens. There's a scripture that says, unless the builder shows up, they that build in vain. Unless the one who's really at the core, who's at the heart, is showing up, unless God's showing up, the healing isn't happening. And I like to give honor and recognition where it's due. All right. So God, I know you to be a healer, and I'm thankful for that, and that there isn't anything beyond your healing power. And I'm further thankful and appreciative for the gift and the blessing of being able to demonstrate you as a healer on the behalf of whoever is chooses to tap into this healing for the purpose of neutralizing the root cause of all back pain, whether it's lower back pain, middle back pain, or pain in the upper part of their back, whether it's on the left side, the right side, all across their back, in the middle. But doing that from the point of the causal root in the entire energy field of every strand of DNA in every cell of their bodies, and transmuting that into and replacing it with a beautiful sense of ease and grace, complete free and full range of motion, and profound flexibility, and just a wonderfully delightful sensation of lightness in their back. And I bear witness to their wholeness on this date and in this time and space called now. Thank you. Thank you for this gift of your divine love. It is done. It is done. It is done. All right. Okay, so let's actually get into the healing. Noticing some of the comments. Apparently the stream is reaching some people that it wouldn't ordinarily realize, and there are people who've had some quite interesting comments. At any rate, we proceed with the healing. So I want to first and foremost look at a lot of times what's going on within a person's body temple is that there is some inflammation, that there's some type of blockage, that there's some type of congestion. And all three of those seem to be coming up right now. So in terms of inflammation, what is inflammation? Inflammation is an excess of the element of fire. Okay. Something is hotter than it should be, if you will. And so we can actually, to some degree, tie inflammation to fiery type of emotions, things that are going on internally within a person, like anger. So we're going to transmute that anger into acceptance, into forgiveness, into internal peace. Resentment, that's coming up strong. I'm going to transmute that resentment into, again, forgiveness and acceptance, forgiveness of self, forgiveness of others. Okay. Any sense of vengefulness, wanting to see other people, someone else pay. You know, that kind of thing will consume you, can consume you. That, by the way, is the nature of fire. The nature of fire is to consume. Okay. Part of the nature of fire is to consume. Okay. And there are certain things that have a way of consuming us internally. And things that are going on internally have a way of outpicturing themselves or projecting themselves on the screen of our lives for the purpose of getting our attention so we can pay attention to it and do something about it. Okay. There's, you know, a wonderful gift that the body gives us in terms of revealing to us what needs to be addressed. And we can either choose to attune our ear to that, pay attention to that and address it, or mask it, ignore it, you know, do something else that's going to not be ultimately useful in addressing the thing from the point of the root cause. All right, so let's actually address blockages. Okay. So within our body temple, you have veins and arteries, right? You have veins, arteries, you have capillaries. These are all blood vessels that take blood throughout all of the cells, throughout all of the areas of your body, to all of the cells of your body. And through that, there's nutrition that's delivered to them. Through that, there's oxygen that's delivered to them. Through that, there's water that's delivered to them, right? And so we refer to the system that causes the blood to flow through our bodies as the circulatory system. However, that's one system through which energy flows in a way that's maybe kind of obvious. But there's also within our bodies a meridian system along which energy flows. And people who maybe have tried acupuncture or acupressure may have some vague awareness of the meridian system, but they're lines of energy, traveling points through which energy moves in our bodies. A lot of times when you have a surgical procedure, it interrupts or creates issues within those meridians. Sometimes if there's some type of trauma or injury that takes place, it interrupts the flow of energy by creating some type of damage to those meridians. And it isn't just the physical body that has these meridians. The earth itself has meridians that run throughout it, referred to as ley lines. I'm not going to go down a whole rabbit hole where that's concerned right now. I just want to address the blockages. And so there are a variety of things that can cause the blockages. Some of those things can be physical trauma. They could be force impact trauma, like something hitting us. That could be a form of trauma. It could be a repetition trauma. like doing something over and over again, that could be a form of trauma that can create blockages. You know, I mentioned surgery before. There could be surgical trauma that takes place, and there could be trauma that that took place as a result of something that you saw or something that you heard. All of these are forms of trauma that can create blockages if you're not allowing that to run through you. So I know we were dealing with I talked about how anger and resentment and things like that are fiery emotions. I gave those as examples of fiery emotions. And even the word emotion is energy in motion, right? It's ruled by the element. Emotions are ruled by the element of water. What is the nature of water? The nature of water is to flow. Water that is stagnant, that is still, that is not moving becomes toxic. And so our emotions that become stuck somewhere in the body, they become toxic. They create blockages, they create congestion, they create inflammation. When they're stuck somewhere in our bodies and we don't let it flow out of us, right? The anger may come, but it needs to flow out. It needs to keep moving. It doesn't need to get stuck inside somewhere. Hurt feelings, they need to be processed. They need to not get stuck inside, Whatever kind of negative emotion, it's natural for us to have various emotional experiences, some of which may not necessarily be pleasant, some of which are very pleasant, but some of which are not. But it's important that we allow that energy to flow. Even as it comes in, it needs to go out so it's not getting stuck. And that doesn't mean just blowing up on other people, but that energy does need to be moved rather than getting stuck and blocked. Because when that energy gets stuck in other ways too, and it creates a situation where we can get various health conditions going on, including, in this case, back pain. Okay. All right. Okay, so I want to take a look right now at addressing I want to address toxicity. Okay. I want to address toxicity that can be built up, not just in this case from negative emotion, but toxicity that can be built up, creating like a sense of sepsis in our system. Okay. All right. So I want to address toxicity within the kidneys, clearing out like that backed up energy in the kidneys that needs to be cleared out and flushed out, breaking those toxic things into quantum particles, clearing them through the lymphatic system or through the digestive system and flushing them out of the system. And whatever isn't flushed out of the system, transmuting that into photons of light. Okay. All right. Okay. All right. So let's look at actually further activating the physical intelligence, the internal intelligence within both the left and the right kidney. All right. And I also want to address the intestines in this particular case. Okay. Sometimes things can be stuck there and be experienced as pain in the back pain. All right. So again, want to actually look at excess in the element of earth address that excess, and look at deficiency within the element of water and address that deficiency. Okay. All right. Okay, now let's take a look right now at I want to take a look right now at your sense of stability. Okay. When you think of the back holds you up, right? The back holds you up. Sometimes when people sway too easily, we might say that that person needs to get a backbone. They need to get some backbone. Okay. They're, kind of wanting in the area of maintaining a sense of internal stability and being able to project that internal stability outwards. Okay. All right. So to be able to have a sense of emotional stability and psychological stability, certainly spiritual stability, to be able to handle whatever life presents and to be able to move and flow with it with confidence and with a sense of dignity, ease, and grace. Okay. Rather than try to resist what things might come up in life. That resistance to what is creates a lot of problems with people. So like accepting what is makes a difference. You might not want to accept somebody's behavior. Like you might find somebody's behavior acceptable, or you might find a certain situation acceptable. But accepting that the situation is what the situation is a different matter altogether. Okay. And then you can make choices in terms of how you respond in the midst of the thing that you might consider unacceptable behavior on somebody's part, but you can perhaps accept that that's just them. That's how they choose to move in the world. Okay. So I want to address this need for external control. All right. So transmuting that need for external control to being able to maintain a sense of self-control. When I was a when I was a kid, when I was in elementary school, my parents split, and my brother and I moved into a different school district, a different school system, and things were quite a bit different at the new school that we went to, and I suddenly became more talkative, and on my some of my progress reports and report cards would sometimes say, in terms of citizenship, there would be the academic aspects and then there would be the citizenship aspect. And in terms of citizenship, they would sometimes say needs to demonstrate self-control because I'd be overly talkative or talkative at inappropriate times. This is, like in maybe fifth grade. I don't know if that was the case in fourth grade, but in fifth grade. Okay. All right. And so what it is that we frequently do in terms of trying to control other people, trying to control external circumstances, even complaining about circumstances, is we're wanting to have a sense of control to help us feel better in the midst of whatever it is that's going on. And we frequently do that because we think that that's easier to do than regulating within ourselves. And the fact of the matter is, if we can really master uh, what's going on inside of us internally, then we experience a lot of growth in that process. And we don't have to bring a lot of unnecessary drama to other people's lives either. Okay. All right. So I'm going to strengthen us in terms of being able to demonstrate self-control. And at the same time, to not always even have to be in control of ourselves, but to be able to be in the flow of spirit. So I want to strengthen us to be able to exist and be in the flow of spirit. To move, as spirit says, move. And to be able to flow. To be able to be in a sense of a flow. Okay? I'm going to be able to strengthen us for that. All right. This technology, Transcending the Matrix, is something that I teach. And it's a profound methodology, but it's also very simple. And the most profound things are simple. I refer to my teacher and going through training in Chinese energetic medicine. And in this basic level of training for Chinese energetic medicine, there was a doctor who had been practicing medicine as an MD for 30 years. And he said he learned more about healing in that basic level of Chinese energetic medicine than he did in all of his years of school, med school, residency, fellowship, and 30 years of practicing medicine. Because, you know, he didn't have to learn a bunch of Latin terms. He didn't have to learn all of this really super complicated stuff, because a lot of times the most profound things are simple. And what's the challenge sometimes in terms of people learning this methodology of transcending the matrix is the simplicity of it, overcoming within one's own mind, within one's own thought process, overcoming that need to refrain from, being able to refrain from or overcome that need to overcomplicate things. All right. So in terms of overcomplicating things, the mind does some incredible things, not all of them good or beneficial for us. So I want to look at, in terms of our expectation of how long it takes to heal. I want to completely delete our whole entire belief system about it takes time to heal, and replace that with an awareness and an acceptance in the possibility of immediacy. Okay. All right. Now I want to also address any type of mental poisoning that may have come as a result of somebody perhaps being well-meaning, well-intentioned, who you, particularly if it's someone that you perceive to be an authority, who's told you maybe you'll have to learn to live with this pain, or you have to learn to live with this problem, or it's going to go on for X amount of time, or there's no cure for this particular situation or that particular situation. Whatever diagnosis or whatever prognosis you may have been given that's possibly holding you back in some way. I want to transmute that and purify that. Okay. Okay. Also, I want to check in with you all, see how you're doing out there. Okay. All right. We're going to do a couple more corrections and then we'll close it down for today. All right. One of the things I want to address right now is I want to address this matter of congestion. I spoke of congestion earlier, said it was the issue that was showing up. Okay. When I think of congestion right now, I'm thinking of something that comes to mind is traffic. Okay. Where you've got a certain volume that's trying to pass through a limited amount of space. Okay. You can have a lot of cars trying to travel through just a couple lanes on the highway, for instance, and the traffic gets congested. In a similar way, there can be energy that's wanting to flow, and it could be a lot of energy that wants to flow, but there's a small space in which that energy can flow, and so things get backed up. Okay, they're congested. We might think of congestion in terms of mucus buildup, right? That can certainly be a manifestation of it. But I want to create within us, strengthen within us, us creating space for healing to happen. Creating space for healing to happen. Creating space for energy to flow. Well, why don't we think that we can create space for that? Because there are these other things that are vying for our time. There are these other things that are vying for our attention. There are these other things that are vying for our energy. And we need to compete with that which actually supports our highest and best good. And sometimes we will put on the back burner that which supports our highest and best good because we are prioritizing some other need or some other perceived need. So I want to strengthen us in terms of being able to rightly prioritize that which supports our highest and best good and the highest and best good of everybody involved. Okay. To be able to discern that which is important from that which is not important. To be able to discern that which is urgent from that which is not urgent. To be able to discern what is not urgent and not important, that which is urgent but not important, that which is important but not urgent, and that which is important and urgent. Okay. And to be able to really have a clear sense of discernment, must strengthen us in terms of our sense of discernment. A lot of people experience back pain tied to their concern about their financial well-being. Okay. And their focus is maybe very much on the physical or the material, but maybe bypassing what things need to be done internally to create that the external circumstances that would create an optimized financial situation. I've been in situations in my own life where I applied to a whole lot of different jobs and nothing was really happening. Whereas if I had gotten quiet and paid attention to what to apply to, what not to apply to, or who to reach out to in my network, or how to present, how I could add value in a very specific way that resonated with me and add value to them and where they can clearly see it. You know, that would have cut down that process a lot quicker. Okay. And I'm thankful that I actually learned to do that and was blessed to even teach other people to do that as well. But the key is to be able to have that sense of discernment, to be able to listen, to be able to pay attention. There's a scripture in the Bible that says that God's ways are not our ways and God's thoughts are not our thoughts. There are things that we're thinking and doing from a very limited perspective. We're seeing a very small fraction of what it is that's really going on. And if we can tap in to that bigger picture and see things beyond the scope of how we have been looking at it, it can open up a whole new world for us and allow things to flow a lot more freely for us, where we're not bumping our head and causing ourselves to experience a whole bunch of frustration, what would be otherwise unnecessary frustration. Okay. All right, this is going to be the last correction, and then we're going to close it down for today. All right, so this last one I want to address is I want to address the idea within the collective consciousness of humanity that as you live longer, you start accumulating more and more problems. And the expectation that as you live longer, you start experiencing various aches and pains, or body becomes more susceptible to injury. I want to totally neutralize the impact, and replace it with openness to the possibility that while many people may believe that, and while many people may experience that, there's also another possibility. There's a possibility that you can be an exception, that you can be someone who actually is able to maintain a sense of divine well-being that transcends whatever your chronological age is. Okay. That you can have the sense of divine favor for miraculous things to unfold in your life in terms of your physical well-being. Okay. All right. And just as we start this, I'm going to close this out in prayer. God, thank you so much for the healing that's taking place today. Thank you for those who've come, those who've gotten something from this, whether they had back pain themselves or not. Thank you for those who passed this on to someone and is experiencing that sowed those good seeds and it will receive good fruit as a result of the good seeds that they planted in terms of endeavoring to help someone else from a loving, compassionate space. Thank you for those who experience healing in their back. And thank you for those who experience, some expansion of understanding. Thank you for all of the ways that your love and your wisdom and your grace pours out upon us and makes a difference in our lives. Thank you so much for these and all other blessings. And I affirm it is done. It is done. It is done. All right, beloved. Like I said, it's been certainly a pleasure being with you here today. For those who are interested, now you will have needed to have done the basic level training, the level 1 training of Transcending the Matrix to be eligible for this, but we have a Transcending the Matrix level 2 training on mental and emotional healing, neurological upgrading, and brain optimization that's taking place in 4 weeks. That's going to be the 13th and the 14th of December. It's a Saturday and Sunday, and it'll be on Zoom. Wherever you are on the planet, you can participate in it. It's 8 hours each day. And we've got a lunch time built into that and some break times built into that. But I know there's going to be a wonderful experience for everybody who participates in it. So I'm mentioning this because guess what? All types of healing is available. In the level 1 training, we basically address the physical stuff. In the level 2, we address the mental health, right? Upgrading people's nervous system and all kinds of stuff like that. But anyway, that's enough for the commercial. For all of you who are here today, who've been here hanging out with us, I appreciate the time that we have shared together today. Bountiful, bright blessings to you. And as we continue to enter into the sustainable state of supreme satisfaction, until we meet again, I bid you adieu with peace and love. And I'll catch you next time.